In the world of Fallout 3, there are plenty of weapons that can be used to augment the player's attack power, but none of them are nearly as disappointing as the pool cue. Only doing 3 damage and its inability to score critical hits would render it useless to most players, but I am not most players. Today, we're gonna see just how bad the worst base game weapon truly is when we ask, can you beat Fallout 3 with only a pool cue? Much like in real life, I failed a challenge before even being born, because obviously you can't beat Fallout 3 with only a pool cue, as you're unable to end your 10th birthday party until you kill the Radroach, and seeing that pool cues are yet to be invented, we are stuck here. So unless I play the game as a literal baby, then no, you can't beat Fallout 3 with only a pool cue. But I'm sure you probably already knew that, and this kind of video is more about the friends we make along the way, or more likely the lives we devastate. So let's take a look at our character. Born out of a test tube, this is
英式撞球杆.
She is the product of a pre-war communist genetic engineering program that aimed to create the world's greatest pool player. But with the world having ended, she's transitioned from sinking every ball on the table in one hit to now splattering wastelanders with a pool cue. This amount of strength was clearly too much for my mother the bear, so now she's dead, and I'm now the baby. So now I'm making very important life choices before I can even read, but for my special stats, I went with these. Don't expect me to explain because, as I said, I can't even read. Now I'm at my 10th birthday party, and there really isn't much to say as I already talked about what was going to happen with the Roach. But I did get a copy of Grognak the Barbarian from Amada, and then I had my picture taken by a ghost because clearly Jonas was not the one taking the picture. Now for the GOAT, and I just picked my answers randomly before selecting my tag skills, which were explosives, melee, and repair. Now I'm out of this shithole, but for some reason, Amada decided to come with me. I don't know what she's doing, but I'm sure she'll figure it out. Leaving Vault 101, the real game begins, and we level up. I take the Black Widow perk for a nice 10% increase in damage to men before heading the Megaton. Once inside, I pickpocket Calamity Jane for his house key and grab the strength bobblehead, increasing my strength to 10. After some minor burglary, I headed to Moriarty's saloon, and didn't even bother asking him for help. I just hacked his terminal, and apparently my dad's headed to GNR. That's Galaxy News Radio, for those who don't know. Before I head there, I need to get my weapon, so I headed to Moira's, and she let me down by not having a pool cue. And for that, she must pay. Returning to Moriarty's, I was approached by Mr. Burke with a proposition. He wants me to rig the bomb in the center of town to explode. So I use my seductive words to convince him not to leave the town alone, but to increase my pay. And with that, I rigged the bomb and... You may ask, why would I do that? And I'll give you 3 reasons, and you can believe whichever one you want. 1. There's 2 pool cues located in Tenpenny Tower. 2. I need negative karma for something later on. And 3. Moira had it coming. Let me know which one you think is the real reason. I would say that her weapon's secured, but for some unknown reason that I can only assume to be Todd's judgment, my game crashed like 3 different times trying to pick up the pool cues from the Federalist Lounge. This also marked the beginning of game issues that would comedically plague the rest of this run. But let's move on. Eventually I arrived at the Farragut West Metro station and took that path all the way to Chevy Chase, where I hid inside a Powalski preservation shelter while Paw Patrol took care of the mutants. And after talking to Sarah Lyons, it became clear that this area was dangerous. But I'm sure that they can handle it, so I just stuck behind them until we got to Galaxy News Radio. But it was at GNR that the fan hit the shit. And I just watched this loser get launched like 20 feet. But if you think that's cool, I then saw the behemoth make Paladin Vargas do a cartwheel. Eventually, the Brotherhood of Steel handled it, and Sarah even thanked me for observing. Now it's time to talk to 3Dog, and I was expecting a dressing down about how I changed Megaton's pronouns to was/were, but he didn't even mention it. He knew where my father was headed, but he wouldn't divulge that information unless I helped him by fixing his radio dish, so that's what I headed off to do. But little did I know that this would start an odyssey that would take me all over the city, because I hadn't played this game in like 2 years. I started by heading down into Metro Junction, which led me to popping up in Vernon Square North, DuPont Northeast, and then back to Vernon Square, then Pennsylvania Avenue, where I eventually ended up in the crater that used to be the White House, but eventually I arrived at the mall. Once there, it was easy sailing as I entered into the Museum of Technology, grabbed the dish, and then headed up to the top of the Washington Monument to fix the radio. With that, I returned to the third dog, and he even called me the hero of the wasteland, but I think that the residents of Megaton would argue with that description. Well, he tells me that I should head to Rivet City to speak with one Dr. Lee, as that's the direction my father headed. Once I got to Rivet City, I met with Dr. Lee, but I don't think that she's a real accredited doctor, but we'll see why later. She tells me that I should check at the Jefferson Memorial, as that's where his old lab was set up. Before leaving Rivet City, I picked up 3 pool cues because I knew that I was going to need the durability to deal with the mutants inside the memorial. Once at the memorial, I beat my way through the building until I got to the rotunda, where I found my dad's old notes that listed his intention to enter the metaverse in Vault 112, so I needed to go after him. But before I did that, I cleared out the rest of the mutants at the memorial. With that done, I'm free to follow my father, and not much happened on the way there, so here we are at Vault 112. I received a vault suit and took a seat in the Tranquility Lounger to enter the simulation. I just wish that I would have brought popcorn. Once in the simulation, I realized just how ugly my character was. I mean, goddamn, her face looks like one of the ones stitched to the Godskin Noble's apron. You may be wondering why I'm roasting a child, but that's because there isn't much I can do here as I don't have my pool cue. So I just entered the abandoned house and called in my comrades to clean the place up. With that, I can reunite with my dad and he's going to return to Rivet City, so I join him. And when we get there, I kind of feel like I'm third wheeling it. We head to the memorial, and because I already cleared it out, the nerds are in the building. He starts instructing me around, and I'm starting to think that he only brought me for free labor, but I do it anyways. I turn on the pumps and return to my dad. He then baselessly accuses me of blowing up Megaton, and my response is, But then he gives me the fuses that I need to install, which I do before turning on the mainframe. Finally, I drain the intake pipes, but when I do, the Enclave comes pouring out, so I head back inside to warn the others. When I get back to the purifier, Colonel November has taken control, and began executing people before my dad decides that if he can't have the purifier, then nobody can, and he blows it up. Well, shit. Dr. Lee wants us to get the hell out of here, but my inner loot gremlin won't let me leave until I loot Dad and Colonel Autumn's bodies. After that is where the first real, genuine Fallout 3 situation happened. I entered into the tap tunnels and I thought it'd be really funny to bonk Garza on the head and see if his friends would kill him. But they didn't. Instead he just ran away, and I was like, oh well, and moved on. But then I saw Garza again, and then he died. I laughed a bit, threw around his body, and after that, I was out of the tunnel and waited for Dr. Lee to join me, but she never did. So I went back in and found her running away from some Enclave soldiers, and I figured that I would have to kill them all. But I didn't have enough durability, so I decided to grab my secret weapon from Paradise Falls, the break, and honestly, it wasn't noticeably better, but I was able to use it to kill all the soldiers. So then I left again and waited for Dr. Lee to join me, but she never did. I went back down again, and then she was just standing over Garza's body, and I don't know if she knows this, but he's dead. I hit her a good couple hundred times, but after realizing that this game was broken, I just headed outside and used console commands to progress the quest to the point where Dr. Lee was outside the Citadel. And it worked, but her gang of losers weren't with her. Strange. Well, after I got inside, they all reappeared in time for the game to lock up for like 5 minutes. Eventually, I was able to get through the conversation with Elder Lyons and speak with him again to get permission for power armor training. Now though, it's time to find a G.E.C.K, so after looking through the Vault-Tec PC, I knew I needed to head to Vault 87, and Scribe Baldy told me I need to enter through the Little Lamplight cave system. Once I got there, Mayor McGreedy told me that he wouldn't let me in unless I saved his friends, so that's what I'm off to do. Freeing the kids is pretty easy. You just have to grab the box key and then talk to the morons. Then you either have to hack this computer or fidget with this power box, and then they can leave. But this even dumber idiot won't leave until we free this random guy. So we free him, and then he's just shot dead by the guards. So he's free one way or another. Now with the kids free to be captured by more slavers in the future, I can return to McGreedy and he'll let me in. Once inside, I didn't feel like waiting for Mayor McDumbass to open up the gate to Murder Pass for me, so I just quick loaded my way through it. I ignored most of the mutants because I knew that I would need durability for later on. Eventually, I got to the test lab where I found Fox, who said he'd help me if I freed him. So I did, and now he can clear the path. With the G.E.C.K secured, I was free to be kidnapped by the Enclave and Colonel November, who somehow survived. I woke up in Raven Rock with the Colonel questioning me, and just before he whipped out the car battery, the President saved my ass. So now we just need to go and talk to him. On my way there, I find Anna Holt, who sided with the Enclave, and I'm forced to kill her for treason against me. When I get to the president, he asks me to insert this special vial into the purifier and tells me that it will kill all the mutant freaks. That seems like a pretty good idea, so I accept before leaving Raven Rock for good. I see Fox outside and I hope he enjoys his few days of freedom before my bioterrorism ends his entire bloodline. Back at the Citadel, I let the eggheads know that the Enclave now has the G.E.C.K, and they basically shit themselves, so now I'm off with Sarah Lyons to stop the Enclave. Our journey with Optimus Prime starts and ends within view of the Citadel, and while I'm proud of the fact that he feels inclined to adhere to pedestrian safety laws and kept out of the roadway, it seems that he has decided that he will go no further. I went on without him and quick loaded my way through the energy barrier, but it didn't matter, as once I got inside, Sarah refused to appear, even after I killed Colonel Autumn. But I just don't feel like replaying the past few hours, so I just used console commands again to fix this broken game. And Sarah is here now, but Colonel Autumn is still a pile of meat on the floor. But well, I'll take what I can get. With the room cleared and the message received from the not-so Dr. Lee, I agreed to go inside the irradiated room, but not before inserting the Enclave computer virus into the console and dooming the entire wasteland. I entered 216 and beat Fallout 3 with only the pool cue. Kind of. I want to thank you all for watching. This video again may not be what you were expecting, but my next Elden Ring video will be out soon. I hope that you may have gotten some enjoyment out of this video and stick with me. Other than that, I want to thank you again for watching and wish you a great rest of your day. Peace.